You ready? We'll call this meeting of the Prattville Planning Commission to order. Madam Secretary, will you please call roll?
Mayor Gillespie. Councilman Cables.
Here.
Chairman Smith.
Here.
Vice Chair Gardner.
Here.
Chief Johnson. Ms. Carpenter. Mr. Hyman. Mr. McAuley. And Mr. Nelson.
All right, I believe we do have the minutes from March the 16th of 2017. If you have not already perused them, will you do so now? And may I have a motion to accept them, or can we correct them? Mr. Skip? If you want to look at them a minute, then get somebody give me a motion to accept them as they are, or we can discuss it. Move to approve. Is there a second? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. We are accepted. All right. There's no old business, so the new business is a replat of Interstate Park Plat 2A, 114 and 132, Medical Center Drive. Yes, sir. Do you want to, we don't have anything to read in. You want to tell us? And I won't turn mine off so you can talk.
I don't think it'll have any effect. I'll just have to stand back here and speak. So, sir, Mr. Chairman, you have a request for replatting two lots into one that are a part of the Interstate Park Plat number 2, approved many years ago. These two lots are commercial lots. They're Zone B2. It's my understanding the eventual use of the lots will be for a medical office. Again, it's removing that lot line between the two lots and creating one. So that just requires a simple motion and approval. You have a location map in your packet that shows that location close to the Baptist Medical Park off of Fairview Avenue. Be glad to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions?
Might we ask what's going there?
It's my understanding it's a doctor's office. We have not seen any plans yet, but it certainly would. The very preliminary sketch we've seen shows an office building that straddles the two lots. So they've been very proactive. They've gotten ahead of us. They know what we would require in that, and so they're asking to remove that lot line.
Any other questions? All right. Do we need to make a motion, or do we just accept it as it is?
I move we accept the replat as proposed.
All right. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you.
Chairman.
All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. The motion does carry unanimously. We have on our next item, preliminary plat Nelson Howard Plat 1 at 319, 321, and 323 at Chestnut Street. This is a public hearing. You are the petitioner. We will ask if anybody of the public wishes to come and ask questions. It is open for a public hearing now, so if there's anybody hiding in the halls, please come forward.
Let's see what it is.
All right, come on up and tell us, and we will close the public hearing portion.
Evening, I'm James Monk with Alabama Land Surveyors. I'm here on behalf of the Howard family. They are asking to plat this property, off of Chestnut Street.
This right there would be fine.
Yeah.
It might turn it off. This right there would be fine, I think.
Oh, it's fine, yeah. So there are 3 residents on this property as it exists today. They're just asking that we split that into the 3 parcels where there's 1 residence on each lot, so they can move forward with a sale of one of those.
Okay.
And it's just kind of cleaning up something that's been kind of out of code for some time, in getting 1 resident on each lot.
Excellent. Are there any questions for the petitioner?
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Go
When
ahead.
you said Chestnut Street, do you mean MLK, Martin Luther King? Because it's across the railroad track?
Yes, it's right at the railroad tracks.
And it's on the other side?
Yes.
So that means it should be MLK, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? I think we are good. Yes, sir, come on up. Now, what I would like you to do is register with Miss Morgan and tell us, then come up and tell us who you are after you have, yes, sir, you need to register with Miss Morgan because she. And then you can come tell us who you are and get close to the microphone. You don't get too close, evidently. All right. Yeah, right there, just close to it.
My question is real simple. I guess I.
Just tell us who you are.
Oh, okay. My name is Bobby Hadnot. I am the.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hadnot.
Oh, well, I guess you heard the Hadnots then.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
that was my brother owned all this property. And,
Okay.
he did, Johnny Howard.
Yes, sir.
And that's my brother-in-law, Sister
Okay.
P.S. Howard. Okay. And I guess what happened was the fact that somebody told me they were going to build a big apartment complex across the street from whatever, and I came down here and said, what? So I guess I got misinformation. That's why I came down here, so I guess I can leave.
Okay, yes, sir, we're
But the
just
whole
split.
9 yards, it ticked me off how people give the wrong information. Y'all
yes.
got me down here for nothing.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay,
Well,
I'm
Mr. Hadnot, it's gonna be 3 different lots, and so it's gonna be hard to put an apartment complex on 3 different lots. So, yes, sir, that's not the case.
But that's not.
And it's not
that's
zoned
the
for that.
information I get.
Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir. Yes.
I tell you, boy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. All right. Is there anybody else who would like to address us? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing portion of this meeting. Would you mind reading that in for him?
Mike, before he does that, can I ask a question? What is the legal address? Is it Martin Luther King or is that,
Martin Luther King.
can we read it in to say Martin Luther King rather than Chestnut, which is, I was reading it in.
All right, yeah, reading that.
Resolution preliminary plat Nelson Howard Part 1, April 20th, 2017, whereas John Howard and Evelyn Nelson are the owners of Nelson Howard Plat 1, and whereas proposed development is located inside the city limits at the intersection of Otago Northern Railroad right-of-way in the western right-of-way of Martin Luther King Drive, and whereas a public hearing of the proposed development was heard on April the 20th, 2017, and whereas the required city department head has reviewed the comments of the proposed development. Now therefore be resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby give it favorable review of the submitted preliminary plat of Nelson Howard Plat 1. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Second, thank you. Any discussion needed, or would you like to address us on this matter? I think it's pretty much, we've, in my mind, I've learned everything I need, but go ahead and tell me anything else.
Chairman, I'll go ahead and just say that the staff recommends approval.
Okay.
We've made sure that the lots wide enough to meet zoning. This comes closer to meeting zoning by dividing this into separate lots and providing space on each individual lot instead of in this R3 district being 3 units on the lot. So it's likely that in the future there may be a need for some type of variance, but that would be the case. We're coming closer to meeting zoning by dividing the property and making the splits so that there's sufficient width and separation on the side on each lot. Again, we're talking about properties that were built long before the city had a zoning ordinance, so recommend approval.
Thank you. And just so I understand too, is it R2, R3, or what? R3? Okay. Any other questions?
I'll move for the question.
All right. All in favor of passing this as read, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. It carries unanimously. Mr. Cables, will you read in the final, plat on number 4? Sir?
Subdivision sketch plan.
Yes.
No.
Oh, no, the next one.
Three, we got.
Number 3. We gotta do the final plat of the same one that we just did. Thank you, sir.
All right. Resolution final plat, Nelson Howard, plat 1, April 20, 2017. Whereas John Howard and Evelyn Nelson are the owners of the Nelson Howard plat 1, and whereas the proposed development is located inside the city limits at the intersection of the Autauga Northern Railroad right-of-way and the western right-of-way of Martin Luther King, and whereas a preliminary plat for the proposed development was approved on April 20th, 2017, and whereas the required city department heads have reviewed and commented on the proposed development, now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby gives its favorable review of the submitted final plat of Nelson Howard Plat 1. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the second. Discussion? No discussion. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. I think that was approval. Thank you. Unanimously, it was approved. Dole subdivision sketch plan. All right. Dole subdivision sketch plan, and that can, you gonna come up here and tell us about it, or we need to read it in first, or what's the?
Whatever you like.
All right,
Just read it.
let's read it in. Will you read it in for me, sir, if you wouldn't mind? I would thank you.
Resolution sketch plan Doyle subdivision, April 20, 2017. Whereas Randall and Martha Doyle have presented a sketch plan of Doyle subdivision for consideration by the Planning Commission, and whereas the proposed development is located inside the city limits on the south side of Moses Road, on the east side of Upper Kingston Road, and whereas the required city departments have reviewed and commented on the proposed sketch plan, now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby gives its favorable review of the sketch plan of Doyle subdivision. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Guthrie, good to see you, sir.
You said
How-
no.
Yes.
I'm Guthrie
Oh, I'm
Jeff
sorry.
Coe.
I was second. Thank you. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Mr. Guthrie.
I was just gonna, are y'all ready to vote?
Oh, we're ready to talk. No, we're gonna talk to you. Yeah.
I'm Guthrie Jeff Coe with Jeff Coe Engineers and Surveyors, and I'm representing Randall and Martha Doyle.
Okay.
I've already stole part of my show by telling you where it's at and what it is, and I know y'all are all familiar with it.
Yes, sir.
But anyhow, we've surveyed it, and it's a pretty easy piece of land to develop as far as slopes and drainage and so forth. And I've got Mr. Doyle here with me to answer questions. There'll be a lot of questions I can't answer, but he's familiar with it, and I invite you to ask us anything it takes to get this approval.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Jeff Coat at this time?
What are we looking at, Guthrie?
50,
Tell me.
55 lots that are outside of the city limits.
You got a picture?
Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all, I thought y'all had.
I got that.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you had what JD
I don't
had.
have a big 24 by 36, but the lots proposed will meet your R3. And it borders the Dawson Mill that you already approved, you know, I believe last month or so.
And I presume, I guess this is Mr. Duke question, that none of this can really be done until Dawson Mill's at least partly done anyway.
Correct. We need sanitary sewer. That had to be brought from them.
And this is it right here under attachment B. I was looking at some other ones.
And you also have to be approved by the city or annexed into the city to get sanitary sewer.
And he plans to, at the same time, he goes to preliminary to ask for, to be brought annexed into the city. It is a great advantage in the marketing of the lots and advantages that the city offers.
Much different from what we approved in 2010 or whatever.
It's about the same, right?
You tell us who you are, sir, when you come on up for the,
I'm Randall Dole. And,
Yes, sir.
My wife and I own the property, Martha's my wife. Anyway, really, this is about 15 acres here, and everything is, as far as the sketch plan we're trying to go through the Dawson Mills sketch plan that was, sought and approved, I think about a month ago. Everything depends on it. In other words, we're depending on them to give us a lateral, a sanitary sewer lateral and stormwater. So it's just, we can't really go any further till we see what they do. And then we can.
Yeah, and he wanted to know, is it in accordance with the 2010 approval? I believe it was Mr. McCarthy's question.
With some minor changes in some of the lot layouts, it's everything's pretty much the same. You know, I think in the previous 2010, they didn't show. I don't think they rightly showed the existing houses. There's 3 existing houses there, and I don't think they showed them. But what we have proposed right here shows that the 3 existing houses, and it just shows where we're just going to take the subdivision that we're trying to go after, and it to tie into basically tie into the stub outs provided by Dawson Mills.
okay.
I hope I ain't complicated.
No, you're not. I'm with you. I'm with you anyway.
I mean, we tried, you know, I talked to Joel, and we tried to do exactly what was in the best interest of the city and for ourselves, and I think that we got that accomplished. I think the main concern might have been Moses Road and you know, the traffic there, and basically what we're trying to do with this subdivision is just, you know, tie in from, you know, not going out on the Moses Road at all and trying to block any kind of access there to Moses. So, you know, I think we accomplished exactly what the city and I were after.
You good? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, what's the other property, the Dawson Mill, has it been annexed yet? Have we annexed? I know okay, so it's inside the city. Yes. All right, this is gonna tie in and, all right. Yeah, they're out. Okay.
Mr. Duke, the effect this has on lots A and B, tell me about that. You and I have talked about it, so could you inform us, please?
Come on.
I'm gonna talk a little bit from this page here. You've got in the layout, you've got 55 lots that are numbered, and then you have 2 larger, roughly half acre and acre and a half lot on the far eastern side that are labeled A and B. Does everybody follow me? Mm-hmm. Okay. The lots A and B, and Mr. Dole can correct me if I'm incorrect. I expect that you will see a preliminary and final plat for lots A and B shortly. if this is approved today, then that's their next step, is to come back to you at another meeting and ask for those 2 lots to be platted. Those 2 lots correspond to existing structures. Okay, this larger piece of property, larger blow up, you can see that there are several structures on it that exist. And it is my understanding, talking to Mr. Dole, that they wish to possibly sell those 2 structures off as separate lots. Of course, that would mean that they'd have to meet your subdivision regulations and divide it off. Start looking at a larger piece of property like this and somebody starts talking about dividing it, we request that they do a sketch plan, come before you and look at some of these broader questions. So that's the reason the sketch plan is before you. Their immediate plans are just what I just described, lots A and B, which do not require sewer. They basically exist already on septic tanks. So there would be no request for sewer, no request for annexation, no request for lots A and B. So
Does Mr. Doyle own lots A and B?
I did.
the only thing shown in this sketch plan he doesn't own is this larger cutout here in the intersection there at Moses Road in Upper Kingston. Just to So, let me just go ahead and say that you can see there are lots A and B. Shown on this one as lot 1 and 2.
Flag lot.
Infamous flag lot. It has just enough frontage that it could be divided, and I guess that will be my comment about the sketch in general. Since these 2 lots are not a part of the overall proposal and would be created prior to the roads being put in and not have access to the roads, internal roads that might be put in for the other 55 lots, I think it's worth looking at preliminary and final, that there be some deed restrictions on that so that these 2 lots are not divided further. Smaller lot and it would have some difficulty in being divided further, but certainly the acre and a half could be divided further. And the reason that I asked for that is if it's in the city limits, you can zone it in such a way that there's no way for it to be divided easily. If it's outside the city limits, then you just need some deed restrictions, and the purpose for that would be to keep from impacting traffic. You know, the purpose of this whole layout is to restrict traffic, not want to be faced with having lots proposed on that acre and a half that would then be directed back to Upper Kingston, and wouldn't be that much in the way of traffic, and you certainly could consider it at some point, but I would just keep with the Dole's plan and make sure that it stays that way. If it's deed restricted, then that, as the property goes from Mr. Dole's hands to somebody else, they would not be in a position to be able to divide it. That's just a consideration. The other item that we need to bring up is that we're not really presented with any stormwater design or sewer, but we kind of know where that's going to go. We know it has to go basically to the south and pass through the Dawson's Mill property from our previous discussions. So with all that said, and looking at the fact that the sketch plan meets the proposals that we've laid out for this area, we certainly recommend approval.
Okay.
Glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Doak?
No, I mean, I don't see it, but there's no other entrance except through the Dawson Mill subdivision.
So, as Mr. Dole said, that it really depended upon when that subdivision takes place. And if their plans change and that doesn't take place, then I'm sure the Doles will be back to see us looking at a different proposal, so.
Okay. Any other questions?
And this does serve the greater purpose that gets A and B where they need to be.
We ready for a vote? Any questions? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. I believe it passed unanimously. Mr. Duke, do you have anything for us at this time? Miscellaneous? Okay.
Some of you over the years have heard me discuss stormwater and coming permit requirements for the city. And you may have heard over the last year, the city has been required to have a stormwater permit with ADEM, and we currently have that. That covers stormwater management and really looking at the quality of that stormwater, not necessarily the quantity. Y'all have been dealing with, as a commission, how to manage stormwater for many years, but not necessarily looking at removing pollutants from that. The permit that the city has currently is a kind of a new world for the city. And we are under that permit, have been since July. We are now having to move forward with ordinances to enforce regulations. That's the reason I'm coming before you, is to talk to you about an opportunity to learn more about that. Y'all are going to have to be in a position to about ordinances and changes to ordinances, but we have an opportunity for some education. That is May the 11th and 12th in Auburn is the Alabama Stormwater Forum. Send you an email that has more information on that if you're interested in attending. If you'll let Ms. Morgan know, y'all have a travel and education budget, and we are happy to set you up. So. Second, this is the month of April. It is nationally known as Fair Housing Month, and a brochure that talks about fair housing and federal law, the Fair Housing Act, and what would be considered to be housing discrimination actions. And then if you know somebody who feels like they've been discriminated when it comes to housing, there's a route for making a complaint and hopefully a resolution. But city has this similar information on the city's website, and I'm just bringing that to your attention to promote this Fair Housing Month. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Anything? Okay. All right. Any other, I guess, meeting is adjourned.